Greetings. I would like to thank you for giving me this opportunity to present to you my research on the socio-environmental damage, a looming facet of illegal goat panning, a case study of the illegal goat panners of Gwanda District, Zimbabwe. Gwanda full-time panners produced about 50 grams of goat a week, while part-time panners produced about 10 grams of goat per week. So imagine if there was to be a constant production, the environment might be affected seriously based on the hypothesis that illegal goat panning is the worst enemy of the environment and has become a widespread problem that is found throughout Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe is an agricultural and mineral-based economy, and the rural population tries whatever means possible to pursue existence of goat panning as a source of employment. It is one of the survival options for them, especially for the people that live along rivers, disused mines, and dams. Illegal goat panning has propelled into the world as an environmental threat and less as an acknowledgement of its economic potential. This is a post-independence phenomenon fueled by, amongst other factors, such as harsh economic conditions, retrenchment, and poor agricultural yields due to severe droughts and the need for decent living conditions. Gwanda District, as the study area, is a capital city of Matabeleland South Province with an estimated population of about 18,000 people. The district is located in agro-ecological zones, region 4 and 5, with an annual rainfall of about 450 millimils and high evaporation rate. Agriculture and mining are the main economic activities, with small-scale goat mining gaining momentum. I'm about to show you a map which illustrates the location of Gwanda in Zimbabwe and the 24 wards in the Gwanda district. It also shows the wards which have a high concentration of goat panning activities and other areas of interest like nickel mining, potential mining, and cropping areas. The land degradation is very pronounced in areas shaded red in the district. The gold mining methods are used interchangeably, from open pit, riverbank, to bed panning. These operations are characterized by shallow diggings, which follow the reefs. Whilst open cast mining practiced by most panners is cheap initially, it is not sustainable and usually leads to the abandonment of the operation at an average depth not exceeding 20 meters because of wasting problems and inability to dewater the mine workings. Most of these open cast workings end up with sharp or near vertical high walls or dangerous undercuttings. In terms of processing, panners can be grouped into 3 broad categories according to the types of ore being treated, which are alluvial, free mining, or sulfidic and refractory ore. In most countries, miners use nitric acid of about 30% to dissolve the mercury in the amalgam. It is dangerous and expensive procedure as it is difficult to precipitate all the mercury from the nitric solution. The process is usually done by introducing pieces of metal such as aluminium, copper, or zinc in the solution. In this way, the remaining nitric solution cannot be discarded because it is extremely corrosive and still contains residual mercury. The most common process to separate mercury from gold is the decomposition, or mainly known as roasting or burning, of the amalgam by heating it above 360 degrees. Most mercury compounds evaporate at temperatures above 460 degrees, and gold must reach almost 3,000 degrees to evaporate. When heated, mercury becomes volatile, leaving the gold in a solid state. I'm about to show you a picture which illustrates panners in Gwanda, busy with a dangerous way of gold extraction, with 2 men pulling a bucket of raw material while underground there is a person digging and loading the stones in the bucket. Mining activities by nature are extractive and involve the removal of soil from underground onto the surface. The trenches, as well as alluvial and riverbed gold panning, leads to soil erosion and increased siltation, especially during heavy rains. Quantity of water flowing downstream becomes less, riverbanks collapse, and the storage capacity of rivers is reduced, affecting the operational life of small dams downstream. The openings and fractures left from gold panning lead to disastrous loss of life through the underground trappings. Underground trapping is usually high during the operational stage of blasting and wet periods, where explosives are used. People's lives are at risk from fire and ear damage. Illnesses may also arise as the surface water gets contaminated from the chemicals such as mercury. The mercury easily bioaccumulates in the fish species, and people are also affected when they consume the fish. Illegal gold panning tend to reside in areas without proper sanitation facilities and far from social structures such as clinics and education. Living conditions can be so poor that families tend to do washing and laundry directly in the rivers. With such living conditions, in the long run, health and lack of proper education for children is affected. In central Kalimantan, Indonesia, amalgam is burnt in open pans everywhere, including kitchens and restaurants. A similar situation is observed in the Mekong River in Lao PDR, where a large audience of women and children observe the fascinating color of transformation from the amalgam as it is burnt and gold is obtained. A higher temperature, more vapor from metallic mercury is released and is more hazardous. Miners and gold shop workers who are directly involved in the handling and processing of gold inhale a lot of mercury as well. The skin or the alimentary tract does not absorb metallic mercury efficiently, but vapors are highly absorbed through the membrane of the lungs and the complexes in the blood and tissues before reacting with biologically important sites. Kidneys are the most affected organs in exposures of moderate duration to considerate levels, while the brain is a dominant receptor in a long-term exposure to moderate levels. Since mercury vapor poisoning affects livers and kidneys, high temperatures in the urine can indicate levels of exposure. Total elimination of mercury in the blood and urine can take years, and the findings of the study were based on the information provided by the partners, the non-partners, and stakeholders in Gwanda district. The main findings were on environmental damages caused, social problems encountered, and awareness of these and training. Finding 1. Social problems and the living conditions in gold panning areas. Development of respiratory diseases due to inhalation of irrespirable dust has been shown to be in direct proportion to the total load inhaled over a period of time. There were cases of people being trapped in disused mines or drug pits, and a sad incident happened during the research when 3 men in a disused mine made fire for light and cooking. They were overcome by gases suspected to be carbon monoxide, and unfortunately they died in the pit. Stakeholders stated that there was loss of life every year at the sites. The rescue operations for such incidents are difficult and costly, as there is no equipment or manpower to undertake such undertakings because of economic hardships currently in Zimbabwe. Full-time partners resided along riverbanks in dilapidated infrastructure made from mud, plastics, and wooden poles without access to proper sanitation facilities. They used small pit latrines very close to their sleeping huts, and these latrines were often inadequate in number, resulting in high utilization rates. Both the huts and latrines emitted offensive smells and were very dirty. These pose significant health hazards to the partners and their families, since full-time partners had their families along with them. There is no access to clean water within walking distance. They have to fetch water from the rivers, and the huts are constructed without any ventilation, with daylight being the only source of illumination. One of the panelists interviewed noted that she was not concerned with accommodation. All she wanted was to get the gold. She also noted that she would not abandon gold panning for an alternative job, a condition depicted that she was either ill or hungry, wearing very dirty clothing, and indicated that she did not have the time to wash her body and prepare her meals, as most of the time was spent digging for gold. There is also a high risk of HIV/AIDS pandemic, mainly due to prostitution within these settlements. Finding 2, environmental damage in Gwanda. Lack of sanitation facilities in most campsites makes. Finding 3, training in gold panning. Lack of training and formal training in gold panning could be a contributing factor to environmental damage. All respondents from the local authorities, officials for environmental management, and mining organizations received training in gold panning and processing. 12% of non-panners were trained, and only 8% of panners received formal training in gold panning. Most of the panners and non-panners expressed ignorance of the existence of environmental damage and disaster management policies. They only knew it was illegal to pan. Even campsite leaders did not have any training, and some claimed they were making efforts to come up with small mining associations so that they can lobby for funding through the ministry on small business and indigenization. One of the camp leaders interviewed said that he had never participated in any training and did not need one, as it would take too much of his time and expose him to authorities who would want to know his operations, such as how and where he was marketing his gold. The study established that some of the gold panners have more than 12 years of gold panning experience. One of the panners noted that he was a senior panner, and had he been employed at a mine, he would have been awarded medals for long service. It was interesting to note that most of them had indicated that they liked their job and would not wish to take any employment elsewhere other than gold panning. When asked whether they were aware that they were causing serious damage to the environment, most of them responded by indicating that they were so much experienced such that they were no longer a threat to the physical and social environment, given their vast experience as gold panners. Recommendations will provide guidelines to policymakers, environmental management authorities, and potential stakeholders in disaster risk management for mining methods. A solution to this problem is to make use of blowtorches, which is a fire blow method used by blacksmiths. It increases the heat and reduces residual mercury and vaporizes all the mercury. This method also minimizes the use of chemicals. Miners should undergo training provided by the government and non-governmental organizations. They should also be encouraged to wear protective clothing, especially when processing the gold. For economic and environmental solutions, it should be realized that gold panning is classified under small-scale gold mining and is largely poverty-driven due to the harsh economic demands. This should require a coordinated and collaborative approach from all stakeholders that are geared towards poverty alleviation in the region. They should come together and draft an operational document governing mining operations. For example, specific rules and regulations governing the operation of mining in the district. Mining permits should be issued by the local authorities to train people in the district. Such people should be given claims or permits after the area has undergone impact assessment. Zimbabwe must maximize the net benefits to society from the extraction and marketing of economically accessible gold reserves. The analysis should consider how flow and distribution of costs and benefits might change over time. All responsible government departments should be allocated responsibilities so that they are able to monitor the gold extraction activities. For sustainable development of the mining industry, there must be commitment from both the miners and stakeholders. There must be a regulation that controls blasting and any other related noises and vibrations at night as they disturb people and animals. All working areas must be fenced off to prevent animals and unauthorized people from entering the site. Mining spoil piles should be used to fill open pits or placed outside the mining area, and this should be in controlled erosion spots with sediment around all spoil piles to preclude sedimentation discharge to surface water. For training, the coordination efforts should provide training and development programs. This is based on the assumption that gold panning in Zimbabwe is a viable economic activity and a potential source of income for most rural families. It is therefore necessary to address social problems. Dust inhalation must be minimized to prevent respiratory and adverse effects on miners by wearing of filter respirators during mining or excavation and transportation of ore. Settlements must be at least a kilometer away from the mining sites, and chest x-rays for miners must be done either once or yearly in order to detect any incidences of pulmonary disease such as persistent coughing or shortness of breath. Such measures will reduce the risk of lung diseases to people working within the area. Boreholes and blade toilets at panning sites must be constructed. To reduce the noise and protect ear damage, appropriate soundproof devices should be used. Children must be encouraged to go to school, and if possible, to have mobile clinics available within working areas for the miners. In conclusion, the study established the major negative impacts and damages caused by illegal gold panning activities. It provided baseline information for the effective management of the environmental and disaster strategies in the region. The study also provided mitigatory strategies in order to curtail the impacts of gold panning and the associated disasters. Environmental damages resulting from gold panning, like siltation of rivers, deforestation, soil erosion, land degradation, water aquatic-based food chain destructions, water pollution, and environmental damages, and costs are outlined in the discussion. Issues related to social effects of gold panning were also presented. Poor sanitation facilities in the panning sites and the general spread of HIV and AIDS as a result of people overcrowding in the panning sites were also highlighted. Thank you.